Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. So good to have you here. This is my friend Mina, who's going to be actually doing some interviewing of me with some questions that you had come up with. So this is my Ask Me Anything session with my friend Mina. And I thought of her because she is the best question asker. And so I thought she would enjoy doing this and I would enjoy having her ask me some of these questions. So if you are here with us, listening to us live, please type into the comments. Would love to know who's listening. And then if you have a question that has not been addressed, please send it in. We will get to it if we can, or we'll try to throw it in at the end, or if we don't have time, we'll do another session. So excited to do this with you guys. I will say that I always tell people asking questions and letting me ask questions of them is my love language. I know that's not one of the five, but I love to be asked questions and I love to ask other people questions. So this is like one of my favorite things in the whole world to do. So thanks, Mina, for joining.
Yeah.
To do it. And I think Melissa just jumped on and I know we have a question from her. So excited to have Melissa with us. So Mina, just tell everybody who you are really quick and then you can jump into our questions.
Yeah. Thanks for letting me do this with you, Ashley. And
Yeah.
I totally agree. I think it should be the sixth love language is asking questions because I enjoy it too. So my name is Mina Davenport. I am married. It will be 5 years in August. We have 3 kiddos, an older daughter, a middle daughter, and then we just had our son a couple months ago. We go to Imago Dei Church in North Raleigh, and I'm a stay-at-home mom. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, then let's go ahead and jump in and let's see what questions I can answer.
Yeah, so I figured we would start with some of the lighthearted questions. So first one, it's from Sam. She says, what is your favorite room in your house and why?
Oh, such a good question. So this is from Sam Anderson. What is your favorite room in your house and why? So I think I would have to say our kitchen, and mainly because it's like the heartbeat of our home. It's where so much of our gathering happens. But Jed was going to do gray cabinets before I got to be a little bit more involved in our house. And I said, I really, really want a white kitchen just once. So we ended up doing white kitchen with white counters, white tile backsplash. And it was killing him because he likes lots of color and he did get to use some things to make it a little bit more interesting, but I really, really wanted it white and bright. And we added a big window. And it's just the place where I'm with my kids a lot. We play games at the countertop. You know, we eat there a lot. And when we have people over, that's often the place that we congregate. So It's just a special place. And to me, it's a place that can stay. I mean, it can become very cluttered, but I have just a passion to keep the counters very, very clean and decluttered. It just gives me a lot of joy. So I would say our kitchen.
Yeah. Does Jed regret the decision to make it all white or does he like it?
No, I think he does like it. I mean, his preference would be different, but I think he likes it. And he got other rooms in the house to have his taste, and they are very Jed specific. So he's got those.
Yeah, it's good. Well, I'm glad that you got your kitchen wishes.
Yeah.
All right. So let's do another one.
Okay.
This one's actually from me.
Awesome.
But what is your favorite food and why?
Oh, what's your favorite food and why? And I feel like this comes from you because you love food. I will say being pregnant, it's slightly skewed, but I would say non-pregnant sweet potatoes are my absolute favorite. And I really love them roasted and I really love them fried. And then my favorite is a Japanese white sweet potato. And you can get them sometimes at Trader Joe's and Wegmans. It just depends, but they're different, but delicious. So those are my favorite. But it's funny, I have them almost every day, not pregnant, but pregnant, I'm like, not super interested in them right now.
Wow, interesting. Yeah. What makes them different, Ashley? What do they taste like?
I think they're a little bit more like a white potato, and maybe it's just because they look more like a white potato because they are white, but I don't know. I always say that they're sweeter, but it's almost like they're heartier. And I don't know. You'll have to try them because they're so great. It's like once you have those, it's kind of hard to go back to the sweet, the orange sweet potato. But they're usually seasonal too, so it's harder to get all year round. But they're really great. And then aside from sweet potatoes, peanut butter, it would be a close second, if not first place. But can I ask that question of you? What's your favorite food, just to put you on the spot?
Yes. Well, I know my favorite food is pad thai. I'm a big fan. If you've never had it, it's a rice noodle with a tamarind sauce. And it's like got this sweet and sour and savory, everything together in one with peanuts on top. So it's really good.
The peanut part sounds really good. So I'd be willing to try it.
It's really good. I make it. So maybe sometime I'll bring it.
Yeah, let's do that. I love it.
Okay. So Kim asked this great question.
Mm-hmm.
How do you incorporate your faith into your work?
This is important to me because I don't work in full-time ministry, but it is very much a part of my life. And so it really affects everything that I do. And so at the end of the day, I know that my boss is the Lord. And so I'm working for him. And then I have to remind myself that he has given me people to serve, and these are his children. These are his creation that he loves. And he's often teaching them something very important through the process of buying or selling a home, just because it's so significant in the life of a family or a couple. And so I really get to sit back and watch what God's teaching them. And often it's a pretty big thing for their family. It could be trust. It could be security, or believing the best about other people when they're not acting the way they maybe should have, or, all these different things that happen during real estate transaction that I get to be kind of in the front row watching. And I could tell you story after story of just where I get to watch what God is doing in the family of someone I'm helping. Mm-hmm. And I love it that I just get to be a spectator because it grows my faith, but then also I just get to watch people walk with God as they're buying or selling a home. I do beg God to help me guide people without jeopardizing their family or their investment, because it's a really big decision. And I know I have the power to influence people. And so I want to influence them in the best way possible. So I beg him for that. And then I ask people to pray about their decision. Oftentimes I'll say, here's all of my advice. Now let's talk in, the next 30 minutes, you guys take some time to pray and decide if this is a good decision. And I tell people this Holy Spirit in you trumps my knowledge or wisdom. So listen to that prompting all day long. I'm here to coach and advise you, but essentially you've got the Spirit in you. So I really try to support that. And then oftentimes during real estate transactions, can be a difficult time for the family, whatever that is. And so walking through that season with them with empathy and sympathy and trying to be super supportive and encouraging. And then I often invite them to my church, or if they move near a church that I know of, like even like your church, I'll encourage them to go check out Imago Dei. And then if they are moving to an area where I know where other believers live, I will introduce them to those people to try and create community. So those are just some practical ways that I see my faith intertwined into my work.
Yeah, that's good. Now, you might not have the answer to this, Ashley, so that's okay. But do you have any testimonial of just a way that you saw God work in the family that you were helping?
Yeah. I mean, some of these things, like they will tell me, we prayed for a specific amount of money we wanted to get for our house that they don't tell me. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes we price their house different than that number. But then after the fact, we get that number and then they tell me, this is the number we had prayed for. It's like, gives you goosebumps to see like God show them in those tangible ways, just his sovereignty and his goodness to them. I have story after story like that of just where they had prayed for something specifically and then it happens and they don't let me know. So I know nothing until it actually happens.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's neat. I love that. What are some adaptations that you've made to adjust to the external circumstances in order to balance your work, husband, littles, self-care, all the stuff that is going on? How do you balance it all, Ashley?
Yeah. And this I think this was from Julie. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Okay. Because I think she was asking me just like in our current kind of season that we're in, where we're all trying to adapt to this new normal. And so in those terms, I want to speak to help try and answer her question, because I know she's working from home with a little one, her husband's home, and she works full time. It's a lot to manage. And so what I was thinking about with this question is I want to make sure that the big rocks go in first, which you've probably seen that analogy of like when you're putting things in a big jar, you got to put the big rocks in, and then you can put in the little rocks and the sand and then the water. But if you do it opposite, you can't get as much in the jar. So essentially it's like, for me, making sure the non-negotiables, whatever those are, and some of those are self-care. So you can't see those as selfish, but self-care, because I'm a better mom and a better wife and a better real estate agent when I'm taking care of myself. So you don't neglect that, thinking that's selfish. But so for me, a big part of that is reading. That's a big self-care for me. And then exercising is self-care. So making sure that those times are non-negotiable, blocked in my schedule. And so I create those kind of time blocking the day around, time with the Lord in the evening, exercise in the morning to help me get going for the day. And then making sure we have this 5 o'clock, we're all home together. We've decided Jed's going to be home. I'm home. The kids are here and we're going to have dinner together. And so this uninterrupted 5 to 7 window as a family. And it's very rare that we let something get in front of that or to create an obstacle around that time. So I think making sure the most important things happen, whatever those are, figure that out for you and for your family, and then time block around those. And then for me in this season, and then just being a real estate agent that works from home, being flexible with the day. And that is so hard because I am not a flexible person, but I've wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, but professional working real estate agent, that I've had to learn that if I want to do those things both and do them both well, that I have to be a little bit more flexible. And so I don't have, from 12 to 3 where I can work necessarily, but sometimes it does work that way. Or sometimes Parker naps longer than other days. So just being fluid and flexible and holding the schedule a little lightly, but then holding those firm rocks of what have to happen each day for your health, your spiritual health, your family's health, those types of things. So hopefully that helps give some perspective on this season.
Yeah. Has anything changed from pre-coronavirus till now in how some of how you adapt to circumstances, right? Because there's this big circumstance that's been going on. Yeah. Have you seen any changes, or does it look pretty much the same?
Well, I think the biggest change is that Jed's here with us more, which can be a great thing, as all of you have experienced, but it can also be harder because I think in the back of my mind, I can think, well, he's here so he can help. But he's here thinking I'm here to work because that's what he's normally doing. So I've heard other moms even say that, like, my husbands are home, but they're not here necessarily helping because they're doing their work. So I think that's been the biggest change, is like not expecting just because he's home, he's available. And so him and I have just had to communicate a little bit more about what he's doing. And then could he help with a little window of time, to give me a little relief or give me a chance to call a client or something like that. So that's been our biggest adjustment.
Yes. And just real quick, how about your kids? Do they see Jed and think that he should be able to hang out with them?
Yes, for sure. I mean, Ellie specifically, it's like when daddy comes home, she's running to go play with him. And it's often like, I'll be with you in a little bit. I got to do this little bit of work, and kind of pulling her back. So definitely when she sees daddy come home, she thinks, well, it's time to play. And it's not quite time to play. Yeah.
Yes. All right. That's good. I like the rock analogy and just thinking like, what are the most important things? So that's really helpful. Thanks, Ashley.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So this question is from Melissa.
Melissa Audrey.
Yeah. How do you clean your home on top of working, mothering, cooking, etc.? I have a hard time cleaning everything, and I resonate with this. So we want to hear your answer.
Yes. Well, I will say, just to be 100% honest, the cleaning people were here today and they come every Wednesday, and it's my favorite thing that I spend money on. And it's the thing I look forward to the most each week, is having somebody else come in and clean my house top to bottom. And I know that some people would say that's too expensive, that's not in our budget. I'll tell you what, I will give up about anything to have that money available to have someone else clean my house, my whole house. So that's where I think delegation is so important, and realizing what are things that you could do best and what are things that someone else could do better that could free you to do things that you want to do. And so for me, I really want that time to be with my kids, or to work, or to exercise, or to read my big rocks. And cleaning is not a big rock for me. And so some people find a ton of enjoyment from it, and they should do that because that's life-giving. Cleaning is not life-giving to me. Organizing is, but that's very different than cleaning. So the thought of getting on my hands and knees and cleaning a bathroom does not excite me at any level. And so this is where I utilize a professional company to come in and do it. And I love it. And I'm thankful that we've committed to that as a family, as that's a good use of money to give me time to do other things. So that's one thing I would say. And then I don't cook generally from scratch. I kind of have a 30-minute meal prep rule. If it takes longer than that, it's going to happen either on a day that I have all this time in the world and I want to, but generally I'm 30 minutes for a meal to get it ready. So again, still want clean ingredients and wholesome and healthy meals, but not necessarily from scratch. So that saves a lot of time.
I was just going to ask, when you say not from scratch, but still clean ingredients, can you give us an example of what that looks like?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's like getting wholesome meals, but oftentimes they're already prepped. So like I'll go to the grocery store and they already have a meal that's been cooked or been prepared. And all I need to do is heat it up or do minimal prep to it. Okay. So, like there is different things you can get where it's like a taco platter. So all of the ingredients are there. It's literally bringing it home and prepping it together and making the tacos, something like that. It would be an example. But I mean, I really do look at what is there already pre-made meals, and not necessarily frozen, but they just need to be heated up once they get home. So that could be like a rotisserie chicken that you get. And then maybe I make some broccoli, steamed broccoli with it, and some sweet potatoes in the oven. So those things are easy, but the rotisserie chicken's done.
Sure, that makes sense.
Like that would be an example. The one other thing that I would add is that I do really, really, really recruit my family to help with the house and maintaining its order. They would all, if Parker could speak, he would agree. And Ellie and Jed would definitely say that. So at the end of every day, we kind of do go through the house and pick up everything before everyone goes to bed, because then it doesn't feel so overwhelming the next day, starting from -15. Like I really want each day to start at 0. And then it's like manageable. It doesn't become overwhelming to keep up with clutter or just putting toys away and that type of thing.
That's really good. Question. Would you give up getting your hair cut to get your house cleaned?
Probably.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. But I get my hair cut like twice a year. So
okay. So maybe
that might not have been a great example.
Yeah. I'll come up with something later.
Yeah.
All right. So how about this question from Sam? So aside from the things that you have to do, what activities, hobbies truly bring you the most joy?
Some of these are going to sound really funny to you, but you'll get to know my personality a little bit better. But I really love consignment sales. Does anybody else love consignment sales? I always tell people it's like if I was a kid getting ready to go to Disney World, that's how I feel before a consignment sale. So specifically kids ones. So I love looking for new toys, books, games, puzzles, all that type of stuff. So that's a big thing that brings me such great joy. And I think it's budget, it's like I can get these great things at a great price. So there's a little bit of that mixed in. And then one thing Ellie and I like to do is either go to like a Goodwill or some donation based place and look, stop to look for books or toys similar to consignment sales. And then I really love organizing. Like I said, I don't love cleaning. I love organizing. So I am constantly thinking of what drawer needs organized or which closet could I organize. And I did this as a little girl. My mom will tell you I would do it growing up, going through closets of hers in the kitchen and reorganizing and all of that. And then, as I said, I love to read. There's something really life-giving for me in reading. I love being in the sun. I teach group fitness at the Y and love that. I love to teach, but like facilitating and motivating people and encouraging people in their goals of fitness and staying healthy. And then I really love doing like learning activities with Ellie. I was telling Jed, I was like, Jed, you do all of the like outside ride your bike and jumping on the trampoline things with Ellie, but I want to do the workbooks with her. And maybe I should change the word from workbook because that doesn't sound too exciting for a kid, but I love doing anything that's kind of school related. And I really like school. So that's probably why I like that. And I love doing puzzles. I love playing games. And then I love to sell my clothes. I don't know if anybody else does that, but I love to sell my clothes at consignment stores and get a little cash to buy new ones and sell furniture. I love to do that type of thing. And then just sorting. So I think what I came down to is like, I love to create order from chaos. A puzzle is chaotic and I create order. And I like to organize stuff, creating order from chaos.
Yeah, a toddler's mind is chaotic. So you're bringing order when you teach.
Exactly.
Oh, I love that. What would you say your either favorite book or favorite game is?
Okay. Favorite game would be Scrabble.
Okay.
Love Scrabble. So I'm like, can't wait till Ellie gets to the point where she can actually spell. Been like waiting for that. And then book, I mean, you borrowed it, I think, is Redeeming Love. It's my favorite like Christian fiction book. But I do a top 10 favorite books every year. I've done it for 10 years and I have it all saved in my computer so I could share it with you at any point. But every year I do a top 10 list of books I've read for the year. So that keeps me kind of, just tracking what books have been the best over the course of that season. So Sam's laughing because she predicted the answer to the question she asked. Most of those things bring her joy too. It's awesome.
I can see that. Sam's very organized too. That's fun. Okay, so this question is also from Sam. But if you could have gone down another career path, what would it have been? So
I actually started in the group. Health promotion was my degree in college. And so I really thought that I would go into corporate wellness and help people who are sedentary behind desks become healthy and fit, but still work their corporate job. So that was my goal with my physical education health promotion degree. I would say I don't think I would go back to that if I had to go a different path. But this might sound hilarious, but because I love organizing and creating systems so much, I think that I would probably want to be a professional organizer for people to come into their home, create a system to manage their home and even productivity ideas and organizing and all of that. And then I'd run my own little consignment store at the same time.
On the side. Have you ever actually gone in and organized any friends' homes before?
Well, it's funny because I think when I was pregnant with Ellie, I got the nesting, feeling that you get as a mom pregnant. And I was like, I have done all the organizing I could possibly do, all the nesting I can do in my house. I got to do it for other people. So I put a ad out on Craigslist that Jed was just laughing, like, you do whatever you want to do. I was like, I will come and help organize, sort, and, do it. And I was like, I would do this for free. I mean, it's life-giving to me again. So I have a sister-in-law who struggles with this. And so she asked me often to come over and help her purge and go through things. So I've definitely helped her. But I've definitely helped my mom, or maybe she wouldn't say it was help, but pushed her to maybe getting rid of more things than she wanted to. And then, with Jed, prior to getting married and then getting married, he would definitely say I haven't helped him, but I've definitely pushed his buttons of organizing and getting rid of his things.
I love that. I love that you put that Craigslist ad up. So That's great. Because there are only so many hours in a day to manage your time, what are some things that you stay away from or eliminate from your life because they are time suckers?
And I don't want this to sound like I've got it all together, because you have to think about personality differences and what interests you. And so for me, TV does not interest me at all. It's not that I'm like, I'm going to not watch TV because it's a time sucker. I realize it is, but it just doesn't interest me at all. So it's not even a sacrifice. Let's put it that way. It's not a sacrifice for me. So TV isn't, and I'm thankful for that, because I do see how it can be a time sucker for people. I'm not into any shows. The only show I've ever watched consistently has been like American Idol with Jed. And we usually watched it like 3 seasons late. So we already know who's going to win. But TV shows, even magazines. Now, magazines, I was very adamant about not getting into, mainly because I didn't like the way I felt after I looked at the pictures and the homes of like, I can't measure up to that. And so I just found that they were not only time sucking, but they were like taking my mental contentment and happiness away. So that, Facebook, I know, is a big place for people, or social media. Let's say it is social media. I am not super drawn or addicted to it. Again, personality. So again, it's not a sacrifice for me not to be on social media. But I know that can be for other people. And I know it can be a time drainer for sure. But other things would be like networking events from a professional standpoint. Those can take so much time and not have a huge ROI. And so I've avoided a lot of networking events as a professional. And then this, again, in the professional realm, is like lunch meetings professionally, because those can take so much more time than if I just set up a shorter, more efficient meeting with another professional vendor. If you think about lunch in general is going to be at least an hour. And that's if the waiter is, on task. You don't have to wait for your meal, and driving there isn't a long traffic jam. So I just found like that's a time sucker that I'm not willing to give in this season of life professionally. So I often, if someone asks me to lunch, I'll say, could we set up either a call, or could we meet at my office for a brief period of time to try and be more efficient? Because the food even element adds a lot of time to it. And then another time sucker, I would say, would be just having more and more stuff, because the more stuff you have, the more managing you have to do of it. And the more just thinking through where it goes and what purpose it has for your home. And so I would say hoarding stuff is one thing I keep away from, so that I'm not being sucked into, I've got all this stuff and I don't know what to do with it, and I'm overwhelmed, and I don't have time to do the things I want to do because I've got all this stuff that I have to manage. Yeah.
I love that, because sometimes we don't think about the stuff that we keep as a time sucker, but it is, because you have to spend time organizing it and putting it back and thinking about it and managing it. I love that. Those are really good answers. What would you say, just real quick, Ashley? I know you said some of the things like social media and TV and whatnot were not sacrifices.
Right.
So you don't really spend your time on that. Is there anything that is a sacrifice that you choose to not spend time doing because you want to use your time better in other ways?
Yeah. I mean, when I think about sacrifice, I think about like being with my kids and not doing maybe something that I want to do. So, and that is always a pool for, my time versus our time, and kind of seeing the bigger picture of they're only here for this short season of life. And I'm going to be an empty nester at some point and not have them around to do these different things with. And so I think sacrifice there could be like not reading a book and instead getting in our little inflatable pool with Ellie to play with her. Whereas the book, I could just get lost in it and feel really refueled by that time, but waiting to do that when she's in bed would be better. Like that would be a sacrifice. Yeah. And I could justify, well, this book is a really good book, or it's a parenting book, or it's a book about God. But again, sacrificing that to be able to have face-to-face time with Ellie or Parker, so that they can, grow knowing me as their mom, not someone who's completely distracted. So that would be one example.
Yeah, I love that. Thanks for answering all those questions.
Yes. Well, I don't think we got to all of them, so we'll definitely do another session like that. And it's my love language, so we'll definitely do it again because I love it. But thank you, everyone who joined us. I see Sam ended up on here, Elizabeth and Leslie, thank you. She comes to my cycle classes at the Y, and Heather, Julie, Ruth Ann, Julie, Jamie, Melissa. So fun having you guys. Think of other questions. You can send those in the comments, and I'll put together another one of these Ask Me Anything sessions. But thanks, Mina, for taking the time to chat with me, and we'll look forward to seeing everybody soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, Ashley.
All right. See you. Bye.